Welcome back into the channel, and this has really become an off-script with Rip presentation here. We've had a chance to talk to a lot of great people, fascinating athletes, and a lot of athletes specifically that people in Baltimore have loved to hear from. And this one, I guarantee you, Brad, people know this name. It's had a lot of expectations, but above all, super talented player. And actually, even more than the talent is actually the person himself. He's a great human being. Let's bring on Jackson Holliday. And Jackson, how are we doing? Happy, what day is it? Happy Friday, TGIF.
Yeah, glad to be here.
Us too. Yeah, you. Before we got on here, I wish you actually had your pup with you. I would have brought Ollie. I think it adds to the essence of it. But let's just go through this. We are in September. How's the body holding up now? And this is your second full year of pro baseball, right? I'm not losing my mind.
Nope, second year. Yeah, I feel pretty good, honestly. I've had less problems this year than I did last year as far as like just fatigue. Probably because I'm in the big leagues and getting to eat really good food and train in awesome places. So that's probably got something to do with it. But yeah, I feel pretty good.
Yeah, I think the adjustment period, and I think the reality when we say that out loud, that you have only played 2 years of full professional baseball, that grind of it to adjust is one thing. And then now you're trying to adjust, get into the big leagues and getting through a full 162. That's the fun part, right? That's just what you dreamed of. I keep looking back to this. Maybe you're just a fortune teller. I don't know. Didn't you say this when you got drafted that you thought, like, yeah, I hope to be up here in 2 years? Did
Yeah.
you said that, right?
Yeah, I did say that. Me and Kyle Stowers were talking about that earlier. He's like, I thought this kid was crazy. He's like, this kid's out of his mind. He thinks he's going to be up here in 2 years, and now we're best buds. So, yeah, I did say that. I never really got the timeline with like Bobby Witt. I think he had like maybe 3 years because of COVID. But and Adley were two guys that I loved watching and wanted to kind of follow similar paths. I guess it's more normal now with some of the stuff the Angels are doing. But yeah, that was my goal. Be up here in 2 years, and yeah, happy to say that I accomplished that.
You did. And yeah, I will say I'm glad Stowie said it too. Yeah, I'd say I would have said you're crazy, you're nuts, not because you couldn't do it, but because typically there are some failures. There's some hurdles to get through, and the jump from high school to pro ball to then pro ball to high minor league baseball to the bigs, it takes time. But before I ask you the next question, what do you see in my future then? Like, if you're very good with yours, like, what are you thinking that? Or not even mine. I mean, is this like the Orioles are winning the World Series this year? Am I going to keep my hair in 5 years? I don't know if you've seen the Ripken genetics. Do you have anything for me?
Yeah, well, I'm holding on too. I think we might be in the same boat with the hair genetics. But yeah, I mean this clubhouse is awesome. I tell people that it's kind of similar dynamic to whenever my dad was with the Cardinals, and as far as everyone being really close and kind of having that goofy side, but also the side that wants to go out there and dominate everyone. And I think we're in a really good spot to make a good run in the playoffs and hopefully a World Series.
You just got to get hot at the right time, Brad. I feel like people have said that to us recently about how many times you just got to get hot and be playing your ball at the right time. Maybe a lot of people that have played. We'll stay tuned for that. But Jackson, you mentioned, I think there's a couple things that I feel like you and I can relate to. Let's start with this one. You got to be in a clubhouse when you were young and growing up. And that was something that I always cherished. Maybe you learn a lot of cool things. Maybe you learn some things you're not supposed to learn yet, but you are exposed to a whole different world. And you just mentioned St. Louis. Out of all the years, is St. Louis the place you remember the most? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I think just kind of that middle, like 9 to 12 was kind of the years that we were there, 2009 to 2016. So kind of like right in the middle of growing up in the clubhouse and being able to kind of remember everything and shag BP and take trips with my dad. Me and my brother would be able to go on like family trips and stay in the clubhouse during the games. And so that's kind of the main stuff that I remember. And obviously the last year in New York and Colorado. But St. Louis was kind of the prime of me and Ethan going to the field and hanging out.
Yeah, I mean I think I was 7 or I just turned 8 when my dad retired, and there was still a lot that I learned. And maybe you have some memories. I remember when I was young, some of the guys played tricks on me in the clubhouse. I'll save some of those stories, but even for one case, I had Alan Mills, who's a pitcher. The game NBA Street came out, and I thought I was so good at this game just to figure out that Alan Mills was letting me win. Brady Anderson would play tricks on me constantly. I got to go hit balls over the Fenway Monster. That was one memory. I walked out because, didn't have the pop then, and maybe didn't later on. That's for people to decide themselves. But I would walk up to as close to the Fenway Monster as I could, and my dad would throw to me, and I would try to hit a ball out, and I did, and I thought it was amazing. Do you have any memories like that from guys when you were a kid? That stuck out to you?
Yeah, I mean, we would play games in the outfield during BP. Guys like Trevor Rosenthal, and just see how many balls that we could catch. I know me and my brother like to keep track, but I remember just being at like Wrigley and guys were yelling at you in the stands, and you're throwing balls at them, and then you give one to Trevor and you throw it out of the stadium, and like just messing with fans and hanging out with those guys during BP, and then getting a hit in places like Wrigley and Yankee Stadium. And then I always thought it was really fun shagging BP during the All-Star games and being around all those guys that are still playing today. And I remember I tried to catch Bryce Harper line drive and like knuckle and went right between my legs. And I was like, yeah, I need to probably back up a little bit and getting a little too aggressive. So just stuff like that, and playing ping pong and Golden Tee, and just hanging out in the clubhouse was always great memories.
Well, I wanted to save the Golden Tee for later, but so you've been playing Golden Tee for years?
Oh yeah, yeah. They had one in the Cardinals clubhouse as long as I can remember, and my dad still dominates me. So I'm pretty good, but he's really good. So
Yeah, I know. Like the story came that it was in Toronto, right, this year that you were just on
yeah,
Golden.
in Cleveland, right
Oh,
before
Cleveland.
Toronto. Yeah,
Yeah, that's where things started to get hot, right, in
yeah.
Cleveland. And obviously, it's not because you were making adjustments and getting confidence and comfortable at the big league level. It's all in the game. We know that. Baseball people, we know that. So what's like our best score on Golden Tee? Like, what are we shooting?
I think I shot a -28 yesterday or 2 days ago. So we had off day yesterday. I went double eagle, hole in one, 3 holes in a row, and kind of set me on a good path. So that's probably my best. I mean, I guess the pros make more hole in ones than I do, but yeah, that's not too bad.
But right now, no one in Major League Baseball is a better Golden Tee player.
I've heard Freddie Freeman is really good. That's kind of the guy that I keep hearing that's really, really good.
How is that passing through the
I don't
tunnel?
know. I've heard that for a few years now. I heard that he's unbelievable at it. So I don't know. I'd be interested to watch.
We're gonna have to get the rumor mill out. I need to talk to Freddie. Be like, hey, I know you're a fantastic ball player, Hall of Fame type career, but the people are starting to murmur that there might need to be a Golden Tee off between you and Jackson Holliday. I think we might have to make that happen.
Yeah, maybe if he wants to come hit or something during the off season, we can play at the house.
Hey, now.
Yeah, I'd love that.
Yeah, that would be incredible. With all of this, there's so many different ways, man, I could go with our conversation. I think one of them I do, and we touched on it before we went live. I still marvel at how you handle yourself at 20, because your dad was one of the best players during his generation. It's a name, Holiday. There isn't a ton of other Holidays throughout the world. And he was at a time where he was one of the best players then on his specific teams. So then, that expectation of a dad who's an all-star player. And then on top of it, you are dominating, so talented, you get a chance to be the number 1 overall pick. And I applaud you because I think that there's other pressures behind that that I don't think people understand. So I wanted to say, I think of everything. Like I always think about that. And I'm like, how could I learn how to be like Jackson at 20? Did you ever have moments of trying to understand that there was always going to be that pressure and expectation when you were younger?
Yeah, I think just kind of growing up with it, I'm sure if you had this conversation with my brother, it'd probably be a little bit different. But I never really like tried to go out of my way to tell people that my dad was Matt Holliday, or just kind of growing up in St. Louis, obviously a big baseball town. I never really wore Holliday on the back of my jersey, or my mom will tell you that, like, we never had that on our travel teams, and it wasn't until I was a little bit older, where I started wearing number 7 and having Holiday. So it's just kind of, I just went out there and played and tried to play as hard as I could, and let everything else kind of take care of itself. I never really had like parents rooting against me, or kids targeting me like my brother has. But I think it was just kind of the way that I played as a young kid, trying to play the game the right way and kind of letting everything else take care of itself. But it definitely helped, being the number 1 pick and number 1 prospect, and all that, kind of growing up with pressure. But it wasn't really something that really ever bothered me. He was kind of just dad, and it was kind of a cool thing that I got to go to the field every day and be around those guys, and watching how they handle themselves is kind of how I've tried to navigate this.
I'm actually having flashbacks now, Jackson. When I was a kid, I didn't put my last name on a jersey. If anything, it just said Ryan, the number and Ryan on the jersey. And I'd even introduce myself around, if I didn't have to say my last name, I wouldn't. I still sometimes do that, but now I guess I am an adult now. It's crazy. The time flies, man. So you're gonna blink, and you're gonna be, I'm hoping, a 9-year or 9-time All-Star by the time you're 30 here, right? Or 10.
That'd be great. I'd take that.
That'd be great. In the future, your future fortune teller, that's my fortune for you. But that's just a part of it. And that's why I think makes you so great, is that your dad's your dad. You focus on being the best you can be. I am curious what's going to happen with Ethan, because, your rise, what your dad's done, it's only going to create more pressures for him. But I think he's figuring out. And I'll tell you what, I know I'm old school with this thought. I shook your brother Ethan's hand, and he's got some paws.
Yeah, he's huge. Yeah,
he's ridiculous. Like, how do you guys grow him out there?
I don't know. I'm still waiting for my growth spurt. He just grew right past me a few years ago. So yeah, he's big old hands. Like, yeah, got a great arm. It's pretty fun to watch.
Hey, you know what? You're doing just fine, but you definitely got you on the height side.
Oh yeah.
We'll say that. Let's flash forward to this, because talking about the expectations and pressures, I got to talk to your dad when you went to Fenway for your opener. It's really cool. I talked to him in the hotel room, and the thing that I loved, he was ecstatic as a dad, like, man, I get to watch my son. And I thought that was really cool. Everywhere you went, it felt like everyone's giving you a stand, and actually, no offense here, it's at the game on Friday night wearing the City Connect jerseys when you were in Baltimore. And I stood up, and I was giving a round of applause, and I sat right back down. And someone's like, "Oh, well, Ryan, why aren't you standing up for Jackson?" I'm like, my standing up for the whole inning at bat's not going to help him get a hit here.
Yeah.
It's a lot. I felt like every eye was on you. I know that had to be a cool moment. But is that something that you ever expected, kind of that coming into the league?
Yeah, I mean, it was really cool, the first at bat in Boston. Kind of getting a round of applause from their fan base. It was really, really cool. I'd say my least favorite thing is when I get out and I still get cheered for. I think that happened in AAA, and then at the beginning of all this, I'd get claps after I ground out second. I'm like, that's pretty much worse than striking out, because I hate grounding out second. But it's been pretty awesome. Obviously, the fans here are unbelievable, and be able to go to other places and get applause is very special. But yeah.
It's nice to be loved, but as a hitter, I laugh when you say that, because everyone, hey, you're good, and all you're thinking about is, I swear, if I roll over on another ball here, this isn't good, guys. I'm not
Yeah.
happy with this.
I'm like, if I had just hit it to the shortstop, I've got a chance. If I
Yeah,
hit it to second base, I got
somewhere else.
no chance.
Yeah, and you definitely had some of those to start. The reason why I was asking about with the stress and pressure from stint 1 to stint 2, because I know you made some adjustments. Technically, every hitter has to make adjustments, but I thought the reason why I was wondering, it was the first time when I watched you through the minors that maybe I felt like you felt like you had to do more, or you pressed a little bit. And you were, pulling over, or your favorite thing to do. You were hitting some grounders to second.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, you loved it. It was great. And your game, as you know, you love to drive the ball to all parts of the field.
Mm-hmm.
So did you feel sped up at all? I know you can. I don't the technical stuff. I don't care as much about. No offense, just with I know you have to make adjustments at the big league level, but it's the mental side of it. What mentally for you was a big difference when you came up the second time?
Yeah, I think understanding kind of how I was being pitched, a lot of stuff down and in, and a lot of off speed. I was missing heaters in the middle. I think that's what I've learned the most about this time is just like mistakes are so rare in the big leagues, and you have to capitalize. And I think I did a lot better job the second time around. Early on is just capitalizing on mistakes and trying not to swing at pitchers' pitches. So whenever I get a slider down and in the first time, and I'd swing through it, they'd just throw another one, and I'd swing right through it. So just kind of learning how they pitch in certain organizations. I know the Red Sox throw a ton of sliders, so anything kind of starting down and in probably not a good one to swing at. But just kind of learning, like I said, how they pitch me and trying to hit every mistake that I can, just because it's very difficult. But I think that's what I've done a better job of.
Yeah, and also too, I don't know what it was, what you did to some of these pitchers in another life, but I felt like they were giving you pitches right on the black, or maybe some calls were not in your favor, and it felt like in the blink of an eye, it was 0-2 or 1-2.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like I was going up there with 2 strikes every time. I talked to Gunnar a little bit about that, and he was telling me last year whenever he kind of went through it, he was like, I feel like I was just 0-2 immediately every single time. He's like, it'll get better. I'm like, sounds good, but
yeah,
this sucks.
I'll take your word for it, Gunnar. You turned out well, but I mean, can this change at some point? Because literally, I felt like the entire first 30, whatever, 30 some at bats up here, first time around, it really felt like you just were put it every single time. And I'm going, man, I know that maybe you're missing some pitches, but I'm like, these guys are throwing some of their best balls of the night.
It was tough. I mean, I was pretty blown away with some of these guys' stuff whenever I first got called up, and now that I'm getting calls here and there, it's a little bit easier. I don't have to swing at everything. But yeah, I mean, it was tough.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? I think you figured it out. You know what I loved was you actually had one of those moments getting down to 2 strikes before you hit the granny. And how about that? First homer's a grand slam.
Yeah, pretty sweet.
Yeah, I mean, can you do that again? That'd be fantastic. But did you have in the back of your mind, it's that first game, right? It was the first game you were back, right?
Yep.
And here you are down 2 strikes. You're trying to get that knock. And then as soon as you made contact with the bat, what went through your mind?
I was thank goodness. Yeah, that was about as well as I can hit a baseball. So I'm waiting for that again. But I mean, I saw a slider pretty well, and I've hit sliders pretty well in the minor leagues, and actually done quite a bit of damage on them. So I knew I saw a slider early. Of course, you started me with a backdoor first pitch slider. Why not?
Yeah.
And then so yeah, I saw it well, and kind of hung up there, and I was able to put a pretty good swing on it. So yeah, it was a very good moment. I was just trying to get him in and not strike out, to be honest, and just got a good pitch.
Yeah, I was thinking, I was like, oh no, not again. Like, please just let something go his way. And then you got every bit of that ball. And I know your younger brother might have the size, but that one, you got some pop. A lot of your home runs then were not, barely, wall scrapers. You were getting into them. Then that confidence grew. Obviously, the Golden Tee in Cleveland was the big reason why it happened. But it's been really fun to watch you kind of blossom with it. And it's a reminder for everyone out there, by the way, you're going to struggle. You're going to fail. I mean, Jackson, I'm pretty sure looking at it, at least statistically, probably the most you failed in anything sport wise in a while. Do you have a time growing up where you had that type of consistent failure?
Not that consistent. I know my summer going into my senior year, I wasn't great, but I wasn't that bad. But yeah, it's part of it. I went through it a little bit last year in high, but nothing like that. So picked a good time for it. Beginning of my career in the big leagues. So definitely,
all people do, and that's why I wanted to say that you're not alone with that. I think that people, because you're the number one prospect and you are supposed. I remember as a kid that I was getting compared to what at the pinnacle of what it was going to be for what my dad was accomplishing. You being the number one pick, everyone's saying that you are going to be better than already MVPs right now. And it's going, well, hey, he very well might be, but he's 20. He's trying to figure out how to be a big leaguer. And I think that's the part I wanted to try to make. You were trying to figure it out. It seems like you settled in, and it looks like your group is fighting. It looks like that you guys are enjoying being around this entire group in Baltimore. What's been, I guess, the most fun you've had with this ball club in the bigs? Doesn't have to be on the field.
Yeah, I mean, I think the clubhouse environment is awesome. We got guys from all sorts of parts of their career, and it's just all different personalities, as I'm sure you know. But it's been awesome. Just the bus rides and the flights, and just being able to hang around these guys kind of off the field has been great. And coming up with playing with Cowser last year, and just getting to be around these guys. And obviously, we have Kobe and Povich now. It's been awesome, and I think we have been struggling a little bit, but I think we have an awesome clubhouse, and we'll be just fine.
Yeah, so the guys are fighting, right? There's no giving in there. All right, just saying that out loud. I didn't say that, Brad, that the team's giving up on the season. Neither did Jackson. Sometimes people think when you're going through struggles that it's, oh, this team's they're struggling, and when you're in there, it's just sometimes things don't go right. But with all the injuries and everything that's happened, most teams would fall flat. And for you guys, you got a chance to win the AL East and try to make a run at a World Series the first time that Baltimore, or go back to the World Series for the first time in 41 years. But who's counting? Two things get you out here. Three quickly. I did want to touch on one thing because it did mean something with my family. I know it means something with yours, and it was the number 7. And I know I had my Uncle Bill on, talked about it. I've talked with other family members. And I got to say, I thought it was really awesome that you called. I think you actually called Calvin, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm sorry if it was an awkward conversation. He can be an awkward guy. But I really appreciated that gesture. I just wanted you to touch on a little bit of kind of what that number not only means to your family, but understand it, I guess, what it means to ours and at least what it's meant to Baltimore.
Yeah, it was really awesome. I would fully planned on wearing number 1. I know I talked to Fred a little bit during spring training, and he kind of explained what that number meant to y'all, and it was unofficially retired, and I totally respected that, and I was like, yep, I totally get it. And they were like, the Ripken family wants you to wear number 7, and I was like, really? I mean, that's great. We had just flown to Boston, and I was able to call Cal and kind of just thank him and kind of just have a conversation over the phone at 8 in the morning, and it was awesome. So something that I'll never forget, and I'm very honored to be able to wear that number and represent y'all's family as much as mine.
Yeah, you guys are a fantastic baseball family. You love the game. You play it the hard way. And I think for people in Baltimore, just understanding that number signifies something that's bigger than just a number. And I think that's what's really cool about what you guys embody, and obviously what Senior embodied here, his time in Baltimore. So I thought that was amazing. Couple things here, maybe some fun stuff. A lot of people probably make jokes, or you've seen about that, he's not old enough to drink in the big leagues, or he's not old enough to do it. I'm sure you got a few of those. There was a photo that surfaced the other day of you wearing a polo shirt. And I got to be honest, I feel like, did you just get that right out of the
yeah, I saw that on Twitter or something.
Yeah, can you talk about that for a second?
The white shirt that I wore the other night to Corbin's thing. Is that right?
Yeah. So talk to me about the shirt.
I don't know. I mean, it's Lulu. I got it in Norfolk, so it's I think that might have been the first time I've worn it, but it's definitely been hung up and washed. I don't know. Maybe it was just the camera, but
the lighting.
Lighting. Maybe the lighting.
It had to have been the lighting. There's no doubt about it. But it looked like it was a good event. Yeah, I do laugh. I mean, how many of those jokes do you get probably on a day-to-day basis, or like a week-to-week basis?
Yeah, I mean, I went and did the Jimmy's seafood thing last night, and I got a few, so probably more this week than usual. Yeah,
they up there. Yeah. Well, eventually you'll be of age. Yeah. Honestly, it don't matter. Just go win games and enjoy being young. By the way, enjoy that
next
process.
Year, next year I'll everyone will run out of the jokes. So
yeah, they'll run out of the jokes, which is still it baffles me that what you're doing at this age. It makes me rethink about what was happening. I just got into pro ball, got hurt, and I was in a La Quinta hotel. That's what I was doing.
Oh, yeah, in Sarasota?
Oh, well, no, I did stay at that. Did you get to stay at the La Quinta in Sarasota?
Whenever I first got drafted, but it was the Comfort Inn.
They changed it. They changed the name of it. It's home away from home. Was for me.
It was all right.
You I think you safe to say it's upgraded since then. All right, Jackson, I got to ask you this, because this is like probably the most controversial topic on our show, Brad, most likely.
Yeah.
It's brought to you by our friends over at Stuggies. They do the crab mac and cheese dog. And I like to consider crab and then mac and cheese as a topping. Like, you're putting onions on, that's a topping on a hot dog here, right? You following me? So say like you're going to put a condiment, or you don't have to put a condiment on. Jackson Holliday, what are you putting on your hot dog?
On my hot dog, like with the crab and the mac and cheese?
No. Like crab mac and cheese is its own separate entity. If you just had a plain dog and you can leave it plain, or you can add a condiment, just a condiment.
Yeah.
What are you putting on your dog?
I mean, I haven't had a hot dog in forever, so I don't know. I feel like growing up, just ketchup at a
growing up, I was going to say growing up, you can say plain. You can just say plain to appease me.
I think I would just probably go ketchup. I don't know. That's about it. I think that's the most normal thing. Yeah.
I was hoping for a better result here.
Just really plain. Are you a plain guy?
I am a plain guy. Like, I love a crab mac and cheese dog, the specialty dog, but growing up, I just ate a lot of plain hot dogs. That's what it was.
Because you're boring. That's why.
No, well, we know this story. We don't have to. Jackson, real quickly, I'll tell you the story, because I will get made fun of, but here it is. When I was a kid, I had a problem with the skin of the hot dog, so my mom, the saint that she is, would cut off the skin of the hot dog when I was a kid, and I would just eat a plain dog.
Yeah, it's fine.
That's the first time anybody said that's fine. So I feel like Jackson's not telling the truth here.
You know what? If he is or isn't, Brad, I feel better that if he's lying to my face, but he's not. Jackson would never tell me.
It's fine. I don't eat mushrooms or anything like that. So
exactly. Skin off the hot dog, eating mushrooms.
I'm sure my little brother has done that. Reed has definitely done that for sure.
Okay.
So, I've seen it all. I mean, Reed, my littlest brother, makes his own Cheez-Its with like pieces of cheese. He'll cut up and throw them in the microwave and burn the cheese. And then he's like, "You want to Cheez-It? I made it." I'm like, "That looks terrible. I'm good." So
I can't say I've done that.
That, and then I like put pepperoni and put it in the microwave, and he's got cheese and pepperoni, and then he puts like soy sauce. So yeah, I've seen it all. So
He's an up and coming chef.
Yeah.
I love the creative mind. Do you have any of those? Do you do anything creative? Not food wise?
I don't know. Not really. No,
Okay.
I'm not as creative as him.
It's okay. You're just a golden tea professional.
Yeah, that's right.
And so a couple things I want to see. We're going to settle the debate with golden tea. We're going to get you an iron for your shirt. And let's hope that this can be a fantastic run down the stretch. And by the way, I think it's the Raven, or it's the football jersey night, Orioles football jersey night on Saturday.
Yes.
These games are massive. I think what I'm excited for you is you're going to be able to experience that. And those fans, be a part of that. Go be a part of this down the stretch. It is, when I mean that the players feed off the energy in September, they do, especially with the boys trying to hold off the Yankees and the Rays in town tonight. So, yeah, that's all I got. Jackson, you good? Any final words?
I'm great. I appreciate you having me.
I appreciate you, Jackson. Hey, stay healthy, be good, enjoy the ride, and above all, just keep being you. And we're going to see the best yet to come for you, all right?
I appreciate it. Thank you.